Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon when you are watching this video lecture. In the earlier sessions related to the income from house property head of income, we discussed various scenarios. What if the property is completely let out during the previous year, and what if there was some vacancy period, and what if the property was partly self-occupied and partly let out during the previous year on the basis of time, that is as good as let out only. And what if the property is completely self-occupied? Those are all different scenarios under which the computation of income from house property, how to compute, has been discussed. Of course, the overall methodology of computation is always the same. First, finding out gross annual value if required, then deduct municipal taxes, we get net annual value, then give deductions under section 24A and 24B, we got income from house property. If there is any past unrealized rent realized now, or if there is any arrears of rent realized now under section 25A, we have to make that also taxable after giving a proper deduction of 30% on that as well. So the methodology or the way to compute the income from house property is already known to us. Only thing is we are just encountering different scenarios. Let us take a scenario. This is quite possible to be asked as a question in the examination. Many times it was asked also similar to this, related to deemed to be let out property. See, when we have, let us say, 3 properties, all of them are really self-occupied. If they are really self-occupied according to the question, according to the situation, then he cannot call, the SSC cannot call all the 3 properties as self-occupied. As we know the provision, only 2 such properties can be identified or proclaimed as self-occupied, and 1 property has to be called as deemed to be let out. That we know. But the question is, which 2 to be called as self-occupied, which 1 to be deemed to be let out? That is the choice of the SSC, and we have to give advice to the SSC as to which property should be deemed to be let out of the 3. Naturally, the other 2 will become self-occupied. But reality is that all are self-occupied. In the eyes of law, 1 property is deemed to be let out. It is not really let out. We have to understand that it is deemed to be let out. So all the provisions for calculation of let out property will apply here also. But reality is different. Legal position is different. So let us take such situation which is given in illustration number 8. Ganesh has 3 houses, all of them are self-occupied, house 1, 2, 3, and details are given. And what we have to do is compute the Ganesh income from house property for the assessment year 2021 and suggest which house should be opted by Ganesh to be assessed as self-occupied, which houses to be assessed as self-occupied, so that the tax liability is minimum, which means the total income from house property computed should be the least possible combination. There are 3 possibilities here. 1 and 2 self-occupied, 3 deemed to be let out. 2 and 3 self-occupied, 1 deemed to be let out. And 1 and 3 self-occupied, 2 deemed to be let out. All the combinations can be worked out. But we don't need to do different calculations for all of them. Rather, better way of doing it, easier way of doing it is, first let us calculate what if all the houses are self-occupied. Second, what if all the houses are deemed to be let out? Let us take that way. What if all the houses are self-occupied? House 1, house 2, house 3. So we are taking all the houses as self-occupied. So naturally, the net annual value will be directly 0. So we don't need to worry about gross annual value. Deduct municipal taxes. We get net annual value. Then 24A, then 24B. We get income from house property. This is the standard format irrespective of whatever the question may be. But the point is, now we are calculating as if all the houses are self-occupied. First scenario. That means gross annual value is 0. Municipal taxes, though they are paid, also they are 0. And naturally the net annual value also will be 0. If all the houses are self-occupied. 24A will also be 0 naturally, because 30% of 0 will be 0. Only option is 24B, that is interest on borrowed capital. So all the other information becomes useless if we are taking all the houses as self-occupied. Interest on money borrowed for repair of the property during the current year is 55,000 rupees, that is given. Repair, that is repair. So when it is repair, that too related to a self-occupied property, there is a restriction that we should remember. So what is the restriction on that? For house number 2, 30,000 only can be the deduction that can be claimed, not 55,000. This will be restricted to only 30,000 for house number 2. That is repairs of the property. So what if house number 2 is treated as self-occupied property? Deduction under 24B can only be claimed as 30,000 maximum, not beyond that. What about house number 3? House number 1 doesn't have any interest, so it is 0. So naturally the income from house property also will be 0. So here income from house property in the other case is negative. So let us take negative number. So that is 30,000 negative. For house number 2, if it is self-occupied. House number 3, interest for current year. Once again, current year only he has given, not pre-construction period, current year. On the money borrowed in July 2013. So July 2013 means already 5 years is finished, so pre-construction interest is all done. Only current year interest is there, which is post-construction interest, which can be claimed as reduction up to 2 lakhs rupees, because the loan was taken after 1499 and for the purchase of property it was taken. When nothing is mentioned, we have to assume all conditions are satisfied. Property got completed because it is purchased, there is no construction also. So 5 years also is not a point to be checked. But amount here that can be claimed as reduction cannot exceed 2 lakhs. But amount actually spent is 1,75,000, which is within 2 lakhs. So no problem. The income from house property here will be negative 1,75,000 if house number 3 is self-occupied. This is not the income from house property at all. We are calculating what if the house properties are self-occupied, if at all. Then what if the house properties are deemed to be let out? That also we have to calculate separately now. So if the house properties are self-occupied, these are the incomes. If the house properties are self-occupied, all of them under law. So house 1 0, house 2 negative 30,000, house 3 negative 1,75,000. That's it. Now let us take, what if the houses are deemed to be let out? Then we have to find out gross annual value separately, because they are all deemed to be let out. Let us take house number 1. You have to do the calculation carefully. You have to show this in the working note also. Municipal valuation per annum is 3 lakhs. Fair rent is 3,75,000. Whichever is higher, 3,75,000. That should be compared with standard rent. Whichever is lower, that means 3,50,000. So gross annual value for house number 1 is 3,50,000. That's it. No actual rent will be there, because this is reality. In reality, it is self-occupied. So nobody is going to pay any rent. Then house number 2, once again, municipal valuation 360, fair rent 275, that will be 360, and standard rent 370, and municipal valuation 360, whichever is lower. Lower is 360 only. So 360,000 will be the gross annual value for house number 2. House number 3, 330, 380, whichever is higher, 380, 380, 375, whichever is lower, 375. So 3,75,000 is the gross annual value for house number 3. So that is the computation of gross annual value, which you should be already comfortable with. Reasonable practice so far. Now the date of completion or purchase here for house number 2 and 3 also, that matters only if the house was self-occupied. Already we have taken that. For repairs anyway, maximum 30,000 irrespective of the date. Because house number 3, 1,75,000 we gave deduction since the completion happened 1/4/2014, much after 1/4/99. So that is only relevant for self-occupied property. For let-out property or deemed to be let out, it doesn't make any difference. But main thing is municipal taxes. 12% of what? Once again, I am warning you, don't do 12% of gross annual value. You have to do 12% of municipal valuation only, directly. So 3 lakhs into 12%. That is municipal valuation on that. For house number 2, 3,60,000 into 80%. 8%, sorry. 8%. 330 into 6% last. So this is municipal valuation. Now deduct that from gross annual value. You will get net annual value. 24A is net annual value into 30%. So we have, this is 24A deduction, 30% of net annual value. There is no interest on borrowed capital for house number 1. For interest on borrowed capital for house number 2, entire 55,000 can be claimed as reduction because we are taking it as deemed to be let out now, no restriction. 175 anyway can be taken because anyway there is no restriction. So what is the final income from house property? If we consider house number 1, 2, 3 as a deemed to be let out, will be 2,19,800, 176,840, 73,640 if we consider them as deemed to be let out. Now we can take combinations one by one. I'm just taking it here. You can do it in the working note separately. What combinations are there? Self-occupied, deemed to be let out. First combination let us take. 1 and 2 are self-occupied. Naturally 3 is deemed to be let out. 1 and 2 are self-occupied. 3 is deemed to be let out. Same way, different combinations we can take. Another combination. 1 and 3 are self-occupied. Naturally 2 will be deemed to be let out. Then another possible combination is 2 and 3 are self-occupied. Naturally 1 will be deemed to be let out. And all that we need to do is, how much is the income from house property in those combinations? If 1 and 2 are self-occupied, so take from the first calculation. If 1 and 2 are self-occupied, what is income from house property? From 1 and 2 minus 30,000. 3 is deemed to be let out. So what is the income from house property if it is deemed to be let out? House number 3, 73,640. And what is the total of these two? 43,640 is the income from house property if that combination works out. Next, 1 and 3 are self-occupied. So take from self-occupied thing. 1, 0, 3, 1,75,000. 1 and 3 self-occupied. 2 is deemed to be let out. So 2, take it from deemed to be let out thing. So what will be the income from house property? In that case, 1840. Then 2 and 3 are self-occupied. Okay. 2 and 3 are self-occupied. 1 is deemed to be let out. Take it here. So how much is going to be the income from house property in that case? 14,800. Which is the lowest one? Naturally, the second combination is the lowest one. Which means, what is best to take as self-occupied? Only one and 3 as self-occupied, 2 as deemed to be let out. That's it. That is the answer. Same things can be looked at here. So 219,800, 176,840, 73,640 if they are deemed to be let out. If they are self-occupied, you can do it separately also. Rather than showing it one by one, you can do separately. I would suggest do it as if they are self-occupied separately, as if they are deemed to be let out separately. Then combinations you have to find out. First combination 43,640 was the income from house property. Second combination 1840 was the income from house property. This is the best combination we can say because it is the lowest income from house property. Third combination was giving 19,800. Why 19? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Here there is a point to be noted. Correct. Third combination here. Third combination was what? 2 and 3 are self-occupied. When 2 and 3 are self-occupied, total interest on borrowed capital was 2,05,000, which has to be restricted to 2 lakhs only. So it cannot be 2,05,000 when 2 and 3 are self-occupied. So definitely it has to be restricted to 2 lakhs. So 19,800 will be the income from house property from third combination. That care has to be taken because when both are self-occupied, the total interest, whether it is repairs or whatever it is, on the entire borrowed capital cannot exceed 2 lakhs. Negative income from house property from self-occupied properties put together cannot exceed 2 lakhs. So in the 2 and 3 self-occupied combination, it was earlier 2,05,000, which is wrong. It should be restricted to 2 lakhs, which means the total income from house property in that case will be 19,800. But in spite of all of this, finally, what is the best combination to take? You have to write that option 1, option 2 like that. You should not write. Clearly, you should write this is the best combination. Means house number 1 and 3 should be treated as self-occupied and house number 2 should be treated as deemed to be let out. This conclusion you have to write, then only you will get full marks. Computation is one part. Writing conclusion definitely is important. That is the final answer. This can be a 7 marks question. Very easily it can be asked. Good question. 7 marks question can be expected from this. Why 7 marks? Simple logic, because the paper is 30% MCQs. 10 marks questions normally will be asked, but 30% of that if you reduce, 7 marks questions will remain. So like that, generally 7, 8 or like that marks questions will be asked here. 10 marks is little too much for this. So definitely 5 or 7 marks is possible for this type of question. For that you need to definitely show the calculations of what if the house property is self-occupied and what if the house properties are all deemed to be let out, and then take the combinations, find out which is the best possible combination. Very good question. Illustration number 8. Then illustration number 9 is about partly self-occupied, partly let out, but using space, not time. When this partly thing is according to the time, we don't worry about it because it is as good as let out property. It is not even self-occupied property. In order to call any property as self-occupied, it has to be either really self-occupied or completely unoccupied throughout the year. Then only we have the status of self-occupied. If it is let out for even one day, it is let out only. So status will not change there. Calculations might have some difference, but that is time basis. But space basis is different. This is a space-based classification. Prem owns a house in Madras during the previous year 1920. 2/3 portion was self-occupied. 1/3 portion was let out for residential purposes at a rent of 8,000 rupees per month. And look at this. Municipal value of the property. Property means not one portion. Entire property is 3 lakhs rupees per annum. Fair rent is 2,70,000 rupees per annum. That is for the entire property. Standard rent is 3,30,000 rupees per annum. And then he paid municipal taxes at the rate of 10% of municipal value for the year. And a loan of 25 lakhs was taken by him during the year 2015 for acquiring the property. Interest on the loan paid during the previous year was 1,20,000. That's all. So he has given the interest on the loan paid during the previous year directly. What was the rate of interest, pre-construction period? Nothing is there. So let us say the interest on the borrowed capital during the previous year was 1,20,000. That is available for deduction under section 24B. Compute Prem's income from house property for the assessment year 2021. So now normally what we are supposed to do, partly self-occupied, this is partly let out. Okay. So let us first of all take self-occupied portion This is not deemed to be let out. This is really let out. You have to write full forms in the exam. So two portions we have to take here. Self-occupied portion, let out portion. For that, we need to find out the gross annual value carefully. Gross annual value is given for the property as a whole. As far as self-occupied portion is concerned, gross annual value will be 0, municipal taxes will be 0, net annual value will be 0. So 24A will be 0. 24B we have to see that. What about let out portion? How much was let out? He said very clearly, 2/3 portion was self-occupied, 1/3 portion was let out. So let us take the municipal valuation and other things carefully for let out portion only. If the entire property had a municipal value of 3 lakhs, 1/3 will have how much? Naturally 1 lakh. What about fair rent? Fair rent, if the entire property had 2,70,000, 1/3 portion will have 90,000. Standard rent, if entire property had 3,30,000 standard rent, 1/3 will have 1,10,000. So we have the three things that we need to find out real gross annual value. So municipal value 1 lakh for the let out portion only, 1/3 portion. Fair rent 90,000, whichever is higher 1 lakh. 1 lakh with standard rent 1,10,000, whichever is lower. So expected rent is how much now? For the let out portion only 1 lakh. That's what we have already. But what is the actual rent received or receivable? It was given there clearly. Where the property for let out portion was given at a rent of 8,000 per month. 8,000 per month means that comes to 96,000. Actual rent received or receivable is less than expected rent. But is it due to vacancy? No, there is no vacancy at all in this case. So definitely whichever is higher has to be taken. So what is the gross annual value? Directly the expected rent, that is 1 lakh. Now comes municipal taxes paid. Municipal taxes paid 10% of the municipal value. 10% of municipal value. But should we take municipal taxes on the let out self-occupied portion also? No. We should take only on the let out portion. What is the municipal value of the let out portion? Only 1 lakh, that we know already. So 10% of 1 lakh, we will take it as 10,000 naturally. That is municipal taxes. Then what is the net annual value? That is 90,000. 24A will be 30% of that. That is directly available as flat deduction. Then comes 24B. 1,20,000 is the interest on loan that is paid, and that has to be also split in the ratio of 2/3 and 1/3. That comes to how much? 80,000 for self-occupied. 1/3 of this 1,20,000 will be 40,000 for let out portion. That's it. So 80,000 is negative income, 23,000 is positive income from let out portion. But finally, what is the total income from house property put together? That will be 57,000 rupees. Final answer is that 57,000 rupees. So the total income or loss actually from the head of income from house property will be 57,000 rupees negative. Negative, that is the final answer. That is how, if there is a partly self-occupied, partly let out, we have to take self-occupied separately, which will not have anything other than 24B. Let out portion, you have to take proportionate amounts of municipal value also, fair rent also, standard rent also, and actual rent will be anyway there as per the facts given in the question. And most importantly, municipal taxes also have to be taken only for the let out portion, not for the self-occupied portion. Remaining things are as it is. Interest on borrowed capital also has to be split in the same proportion. So there is 23,000 income from unit 2, that is let out, which is positive income, and there was negative income of 80,000 from the self-occupied portion. Put together 57,000 is the negative income of the SSC from this head of income from house property. That's it. That is about some of the other situations related to income from house property computation. Now let us look at this illustration number 10, which is also more or less a theoretical discussion, we can say. Mr. Anand sold his residential house property in March 2019. March 2019, not during our previous year, even prior to that. And in June 2019, he recovered a rent of 10,000 rupees from Mr. Gaurav. Okay, rent recovered. to whom he had let out his house for 2 years from long back, sometime in flashback. We don't need the years and all. 10,000 rupees he recovered. That matters. He could not realize the 2 months rent of 20,000 from him, and to that extent his actual rent was reduced while computing the income from house property for the assessment year 15-16. Already that is all done. Now what is happening? He is not still recovering 20,000. Gaurav just gives now, in spite of all these years, he now comes and gives 10,000 rupees. So 10,000 rupees definitely would be taxable or not? Yes. Unrealized rent, now realized. Further, he had let out his property from April 2015 to February 2019 to Mr. Satish. And in April 2007, he had increased the rent from 12,000 to 15,000 per month. And same matter was a subject matter of dispute. And in September 2019, all this story we don't care. Finally settled this matter and Anand received 69,000 rupees as arrears of rent. That is what matters to us. How much he received, that matters to us. How much he received as unrealized rent collected now? 10,000 from Gaurav. How much he received as arrears of rent from Satish? 69,000. Total whatever he received is 79,000 rupees under 25A. Both are taxable, but after giving a deduction of 30%. So naturally, how much will be the taxable income from house property for Anand, even though he doesn't own the property? That is the point here. Even though Anand is not the owner of the property, still it is taxable. That is an exception to the charging section itself. So the final taxable amount will be 55,300 rupees. That's it. That's a case-based question almost. So finally, income from house property here will be 55,300 because he doesn't own the property, only has realized the old unrealized rent, and also he has collected the arrears of rent. These are the various situations for income from house property. And there is only one more area of discussion that is also just logical one, that is co-ownership. We'll come to that in the next session. That is co-ownership, and deemed ownership is also there, which is a theoretical thing, not related to any problem. So co-ownership and deemed ownership we can discuss in the next session and conclude this chapter. And let us solve some of the questions which are straightforward questions. First question was anyway co-ownership question, so we'll also solve it in the next session. Now let us look at other questions which can be solved normally. Question number 2. Mr. X owns a residential house in Mumbai. The house is having 2 identical units. First unit of the house is self-occupied and other unit is rented for 8,000 rupees per month. And the rented unit was vacant for 2 months during the year. Particulars of the house for the previous year house. We have to read that carefully. The particulars of the house as a whole, not for the only let out portion. Both are equal. Identical units means 50-50, not 2/3, 1/3. We have to use according to the space classification given in the question. Standard rent is given, municipal valuation is given, fair rent is given, and municipal tax paid by Mr. X only, which is good. You can claim deduction, but not completely, only to the let out aspect. Light and water charges is not required. Like this, unnecessary information will be given in the question. We should just ignore it. Nothing will happen to them. Just leave them. So the particulars of the house are given. Lighting and water charges do not matter. Interest on borrowed capital matters. Lease money doesn't matter. Insurance charges doesn't matter. Repairs doesn't matter. All these are completely useless details. So that is one of the another important aspects, which is not a required detail for computation. We have to identify also. Unnecessarily any details can be given. Because they are given, we should not use them in the calculations. We know very well 24A gives 30% standard flat deduction. No other expenses can be allowed as deduction, whatever they are. Interest on borrowed capital, yes, it is allowed as deduction since it is allowed under section 24B. That's all. So once again, a very similar question, we can say, as we have done in the earlier question. Let us do it freshly once again. Now, some portion is self-occupied and some portion is let out. Both are equal, by the way, as given, because identical units. Identical units means 50-50. Now, let us take, first of all, the self-occupied portion. Gross annual value 0, municipal taxes 0, net annual value 0, 24 years 0. That is standard. Then let out portion. Let out portion standard rent is 162,000 per annum. Standard rent. Don't expect the question to give sequence according to our requirement. 162,000 per annum means for one portion it will be half 81,000. Then municipal valuation is 190,000 per annum. So how much will be municipal valuation then? For the let out portion 95,000. Fair rent is 185,000. Okay. 185,000 divided by 2, 92,500. Now compare. Municipal valuation 95,000, fair rent 92,500, whichever is higher, 95,000. Compare that with standard rent, whichever is lower. So 81,000 is the expected rent. We have it. Then, what is the actual rent received or receivable? And the let out portion was vacant for 2 months. That also was given. That means only how many months rent would have been received? 80,000 only would have been received, because 10 months only would have been actually let out, because it was vacant for 2 months. ARR is less than expected rent. Why is it less than expected rent? Is it due to vacancy? Yes, it is due to vacancy. If the property was not vacant, the SSC would have received 8,000 into 12. That means 96,000. Because the property is vacant, he received only 80,000. So ARR is less than expected rent only due to vacancy. Then what will be the gross annual value? That is actual rent received or receivable, though it is lower. That is an exceptional case which is applied here. Then municipal taxes, he says 15% of municipal valuation. 15% of which municipal valuation? Only the portion of let out portion. So that will be 15% of municipal valuation. That is 14,250. So gross annual value minus municipal taxes, net annual value is there. 24A is 30% of net annual value directly, 19,725. Then question comes 24B. How much was the amount given there? Interest on borrowed capital 1,500 per month he has given. See, 1,500 per month means annually how much? 1,500 into 12. That will be 18,000. Interest on borrowed capital. That has to be split equally also, naturally, because property is equal. That will be split equally also. So 9,000 and 9,000. That's it. Finally, what is the answer now? 28,025 rupees is the income from house property of this particular SSC, because he has a negative income from the self-occupied portion, that is 9,000. Positive income from the let out portion, that is 37,025. These two can be set off. Means 28,025 is the total income from house property of, where is this SSC? Mr. X. That was question number 2 in the exercises. Then question number 3 also is very similar. So similar question. Because one's house property, municipal value, fair rent, standard rent are given, and some portion of the house was self-occupied, other portion was let out. Same type of things are given, but yes, here there is a computation requirement related to interest on borrowed capital, particularly pre-construction period interest. So let us create a similar type of solution: self-occupied portion and let out portion. Now, here is the owner of a house property. Municipal value was 96,000. And look at the portion, how much was let out. During the financial year, 1/3 of the portion was let out. 1/3 was let out. So we have to do the calculations only for let out portion. So municipal value 96,000 divided by 3. Then second one is fair rent, same sequence. Fair rent is 126,000 divided by 3, 1/3 let out. Then standard rent is 1,08,000 divided by 3, 36,000. So far it's okay. Then during the financial year, 1/3 of the portion was let out for residential purpose at a monthly rent of 5,000 rupees. So monthly rent was 5,000 rupees. Remaining 2/3 portion was self-occupied by him. So First of all, expected rent is how much? As usual, municipal value or fair rent, whichever is higher, 42,000. 42,000 or 36,000 standard rent, whichever is lower, 36,000. That is expected rent. Actual rent received or receivable is 5,000 monthly rent. So 5,000 into 12, 60,000. Naturally, that will be the gross annual value because that is higher already. So 60,000 is the gross annual value of the let out portion. Then municipal taxes 11% are paid of the municipal value. Be careful, 11% of, not the entire property, 11% of only the let out portions municipal value, which we know already 32,000. That comes to 3520. Then we have net annual value. Then we have 24-year 30% of net annual value automatically. Now the question is, construction of the house began in June 2012 and completed in 31st May 2015. That is the date of completion of construction. Question is, what is the pre-construction period? How much is the pre-construction period? Pre-construction period is how much? Pre. Starting dates first you have to write. Don't go for computations always. Start with the date. When the loan was taken. Construction began on June 12, doesn't matter. Loan was taken on 1/7/2012. So that is the starting point of pre-construction period. 1st July 2012. July 2012 was the starting point of pre-construction period. Starting point can be taken like this: when the construction actually began or the date of taking the loan, whichever is later, we can say. That is the starting point of pre-construction period. 1/7/2012 is the starting point of pre-construction period. 1st July 2012. Then, what is the ending point of pre-construction period? That will be 31st March preceding the date of completion of construction. So, year of completion of construction is 15/16 and pre-construction period will end on the end of the financial year preceding the year of completion of construction, which means 31st March 2015. 31st March 2015 will be the ending date of pre-construction period. 31st March 2015. That's all. This is the pre-construction period. Post-construction period starts from 1st April 2015, but we don't care because only what matters to us is for the previous year 1920 what happened. What happened after 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19, all that we don't care about post-construction. But now he has taken a loan of 1 lakh rupees on the date of 1/7/2012. Interest was 12% per annum and every month such interest was paid. But original amount still remains the same. Which means, how much is the pre-construction period interest is the question. Pre-construction period interest. How many months it will be, if you can take, that is enough. So, in 2012-13, how many months it will be? Because the pre-construction period starts from 1st July. So, April, May, June you have to exclude. That means 9 months. Then that was 12-13. 13-14, 12 months. 14-15, 12 months. Total number of months of pre-construction period is 33 months. On what amount? 1 lakh rupees. 12% per annum means monthly how much? 1% you can take directly into 33 months. How much is the pre-construction period interest? 33,000 rupees is the pre-construction period interest. But how much we can claim as deduction during the previous year? Only 1/5. And check whether 5 years has passed by. No, because 31st March 2015 is the end of pre-construction period. 5 years means 15-16, 16-17, 17-18, 18-19, 19-20. Still we have last year deduction, that is 6,600 rupees. Pre-construction period interest. Post-construction period interest will be 12,000 rupees naturally. Why? Because 1 lakh rupees loan, 12% per annum interest. So total interest on borrowed capital is how much? 6,600 plus 12,000, 18,600. Half of that will be for, not half of, by the way, sorry, 2/3. 2/3 of that will be for self-occupied property. Let out property is 1/3 only. So naturally, 1/3 of this will be for let out property, interest on borrowed capital deduction. Total is 18,600 rupees. After that, we have negative income from house property for self-occupied, positive for let out naturally. Total is 20,936. That is the final answer of income from house property. And here main thing is computation of pre-construction period first, then interest on that. How many months it is there? 33 months it is there. Total interest of the pre-construction period will be how much? 33,000. 1/5 is only allowed as reduction, that means 6,600. Other interest, the normal interest during the previous year 1920, there is no problem. 1 lakh into 12%, 12,000, that is post-construction only, which means 18,600 is the amount of interest allowed as reduction on the borrowed capital. 2/3 of that will be given to self-occupied portion, 1/3 is let out portion. Then we have income from house property finally of 20,936 rupees. And this is not negative, this is positive. So this is also positive earlier. This is negative. So negative, just we show it as red. We cannot show all these things in exam anyway. Negative means negative only, show it in the bracket. For understanding purposes, here we are showing it as red. So black means positive. So 12,500 negative from self-occupied portion, 33,336 positive from let out portion. Put together 20,936 is the income from house property for this SSC, Mr. Vikas. That is one more question related to computation of income from house property in a different scenario. And question number 4 and 5 also we can discuss in the next session. 5 is definitely the co-ownership question. 4 is also a little different, not like that much different, but still it has its own point of property situated outside India. So question number 4 and 5 we will discuss in the next session. Also along with that, question number 1 we will discuss in the next session. All of these are related to co-ownership. 1 and 5 are related to co-ownership. Nothing special, only just to distribute the income from house property to two co-owners according to their share in the property. We will discuss that co-ownership aspect and also the deemed ownership aspect only from a theory point of view. We will discuss it in the next class, and in the next class we can conclude this chapter or income or head of income, that is income from house property. And all the other provisions so far whatever have been discussed, you have to be very thorough with them, revise them very well, and solve the questions which are sent to you as task also. More and more questions will be sent to you as task. You have to practice these things very well. So with that we'll conclude today's session, and in the next session we'll discuss co-ownership, deemed ownership, and solve questions also related to them. Deemed ownership doesn't have any problems, it is only theoretical discussion. Co-ownership, there are some couple of questions, we will discuss them and conclude this chapter or topic in the next session. Till then, take care, bye bye, thank you very much.